today, talking a bit more about radiators and radiator hoses and reliability and stuff, because we've got to get this old Dunger 120 Prado ready for a trip, big remote trip actually, and make sure it's reliable, because hey, I don't like being broken down, and I don't like working on cars when I'm on holidays either. So going to be on holidays, going to do a trip. Not sure about the details yet. That doesn't really matter too much for this video, but stay tuned on both of our YouTube channels if you want to see some of the details of the trips and where we go. We've got the other YouTube channel, Full Before Adventures. But the important part, I suppose, to let you know about before we get started on this video is it's pretty much too late now. There's not many times left now to get your booking into the Prado hospital or to get your parts kits. So we're into March now. So look, I thought we had a couple more weeks to go, but so definitely Monday the 4th, the day to hit me up for any of your usual parts kits. And if you're already booked into the Prado hospital, obviously we're all good for that. But we might have room for a couple of minor jobs. That's about it. But we're pretty well all booked, fully booked up from, you know, between the workshop, the maintenance, repairs, the restocking and the trip, pretty much. You've only got, Monday the 4th, right? So Monday the 4th is your last day to hit me up for anything. And then we're pretty well done, unless it's an emergency and you're in the VIP group, stuff like that. You know, you can try me, but might not work out. You're just going to need to stay on these videos, subscribe, turn the bell. I'm going to miss some video days because we're going to be in remote places at some stage. No phone service. I can set it up to automatically release videos. I can't be bothered. You guys need a day off, just like I'm going to have a day off. Or if you want more, if you're hungry for more, then check the playlist and go and have a look at all the old videos, some catch up, get yourself educated there. But look, I did say Monday the 4th and Monday the 11th is your last 2 days. But funny thing is, I didn't realise at the time, Monday the 11th in Victoria, Australia, is Labor Day. So, you know, they call it Labor Day. I don't even know what it is, Labor Day, and it's a public holiday, which means, mate, you know, it'll be frowned upon if I was to work. So don't tell anybody, just secretly. If you can do it on Monday the 4th, it'd be best. But if that's rushing you a bit and you need a bit more time, hit me up on Monday the 11th and I'll take the order and take the payment, and then I'll just pack and send on Tuesday, right? Because if it's a public holiday, that means everything's closed. So I sort of need to at least pretend to be closed. So just quietly, don't tell anyone, but we'll sort you out. Now, so basically what I'm saying is, mate, I'm on holidays for between work, what we've got booked in, workshop maintenance, repairs, restocking, all these things take time. It's not, you know, the whole business isn't just, you know, keep just work the whole time, nothing happens. Between that and a bit of a trip and a bit of other work and whatever, it's pretty much going to wipe us out. It's going to be close to the end of April, to be honest. It's going to be around, I reckon, about, stay tuned till about something with a 2 in front of it, like 20-something in April, so late April. Stay tuned on the Prado Hospital Facebook page for updates, and on this both YouTube channels if you want details. Now, let's just go through under here a few of the problems we've seen over the years that we're not going to have trouble with, and you know, let you know some things maybe that I'm concerned about. So what am I concerned about? Let's just have a look at this, because it's right in front of me. Let's have a look. See that fuel hose where it was rubbing? Just beware if you've got a standard or especially an aftermarket fuel filter where someone's come up with an arrangement like this where it pushes the fuel filter out. Diesel engine vibration, nothing can be rubbing on it. Otherwise, that's what'll happen. It'll rub through and you'll end up, you won't be going anywhere, which is why I've shortened it and I've put a bit of split tubing on it and made sure it's got clearance, okay? I'm not too worried about those hoses there. You see, it's not gonna rub through that hose there. It's just gonna rub a little bit, but I'm not worried about the plastic either. It's just, you can see what it was doing to this fuel hose, right? It's got a clip there, make sure they're in the correct position, and that should pretty much keep it, for the most part, off there anyway, but I'm not too worried about that. These little plastic clips I've replaced because I don't want my pipes breaking off and banging around. It's got a fresh battery, all the connections are good. I've still got to get to putting a fuse in this line here. This is how it was when I got the vehicle. I had it disconnected, I've reconnected. It's all in other videos. You've got to be subscribed with the bell on. But there's our super reliable battery. Fingers crossed, right? Hopefully. This is our other super reliable battery, absolutely. These radiator hoses, that's what I was going to talk about as well. These radiator hoses, they have been replaced because at 300,000 I thought, you know what, these hoses are in such good condition. I went, but we've got to replace them sooner or later. 300 must be the number. So I ordered a top and bottom radiator hose for this car, and the one that goes on the bottom of that header tank down the side, because someone had already broken the clamp. So to get the clamp, whatever anyway. So I put the hoses on, and I had these old hoses off. I've chucked them out years ago now. But I really analysed and tried to destroy the old hoses. And they were just so good still. I'm like, stop replacing hoses. So my advice on these Prados and Hiluxes, everything we see, they're really awesome quality. This one's only 130,000 Ks. That's why it looks like new still, right? It's really, really is. But if you do see them go like that other one we saw, that's when you want to replace them. So just keep an eye on them. All these hoses on here, these are all original. Should be right, mate, type thing. Now, I've got some spare, you know, the little ones on the turbo and that. I might throw those in the car. I wouldn't want to have to change them on a trip, but you know what? We changed the turbo as prevention. There was nothing wrong with it. We did change the turbo. We replaced a lot of things on this car as prevention, and we've never broken down, never had an issue, you know, of anything like the alternator, anything around the engine, hoses, radiators, that sort of thing. For a lot of people, if you don't watch the video, you might not know this vehicle had a cracked piston. Yes, it did. So it can happen to everyone. So as soon as I said we've never broken down, well, that was a breakdown. But what I mean is nothing else around the vehicle, all the usual small things that might stop you on a vehicle, or perhaps even have to go at stopping you on a vehicle, you know, anything like it. By doing it as prevention, you don't have that issue. So let me give you a rundown with a cracked piston anyway. So it was on the odometer, it was 363,000 kilometers, okay? We got the vehicle with 196 on it. In that life, it had standard service and lots of towing a caravan, lots and lots of towing a caravan. Ranus had services multiple times in Broome, so it really did it hard, the 4-cylinder 120 towing the caravan, and it was the cheapest one we could possibly buy, and I purchased it thinking it would blow up, you know, R&D vehicle, and I was expecting it, and I went over to WA and back, 250 kgs, it still hasn't blown, and going here, going there, went up the Cape, went here, been there, went across the, still hasn't blown, and I got confident in it. And we're doing another Kimberley trip, actually. We're headed off on another Kimberley trip, and bada bing, bada boom, make sure you've got your RAC, because it really came through, covered all the towing, all the accommodation, all the hire cars, all the Ubers. Mate, you wouldn't believe how good it was to me, except I've heard it from other people. So that's why I had it, because I know it was good and it really worked for me. Now, there is times where it doesn't work out that well for people. Now, of course, I put in a brand new long motor. That's what you do. That's the way it's managed. As it turned out with this one, there was fuel contamination, so it was all covered by insurance anyway, which was beautiful. Like I said, there's always a reason, even though I expected it, because I didn't know the history, you know, the fuel pipes, the contaminations, the injectors, blah, blah, blah. Even though we put new injectors, we don't know what the history and how much damage was done before, this sort of thing. Now, the 363K, there's a whole heap, and I mean more than your average vehicle of low range work, where I've done probably 30 to 50 Ks, maybe 100 Ks in a day, where the engines run all day. So engine hours were probably a lot higher, equivalent of a vehicle that's done about 500,000 Ks. Okay, so this engine's only done 363, about 430. So it's done about, you know, you work it out, 60, 70,000 Ks. So it's just an absolute baby. But what I didn't do at the time, I didn't put a new turbo on it because there was nothing wrong with it, and there still was nothing, but I went, reliability-wise, one day it's going to let me down. So I got a new turbo, let's say a year or two ago. Okay, so it's probably only done 10, 20,000 Ks. It's about to get, I've got the radiator sitting in the box, just, you can see the box there in the top right corner, and a fan hub. Not that I've ever seen an issue, but I'm going to put a fan hub and a radiator. I'm going to do the timing belt, because at 360, I'd already done it at 300. I went, I'll just reuse it, and I'll just do it again at 450. So it's at 430. I went, you know what? I'm going to do the timing belt idle attention before the big trip. I'm going to put another belt, redo the bearings, fan hub, radiator, and obviously another opportunity to new coolant, because, you know, I just always want the coolant looking like that if I can. It's bloody fantastic. So what's left to worry about? I'm not worried about anything. Fuel transfer problem, not a big deal as long as you don't run it down too low, and it's probably not going to happen. So this vehicle will get tested before the trip. I'll run the fuel down very low to make sure it's working, and that'll be after I change the rear fuel filter, because sometimes people can change that rear fuel filter. Maybe some debris in there is what blocks the Venturi. So always change the filter and then run it down, fill it and run it down a few times if you can. Don't change it right before the trip. Okay, so that's my mistake because I really, you know what, I'm not going to change it before the trip. There you go, 430. I think we did it at 420. I'll leave it till after the trip. So I'm not changing that rear fuel filter, but I'll run the tank down to make sure it's transferring. Brake fluid's good, although I reckon the vacuum pump could be getting a bit tired and not as much vacuum. You know, if you follow the videos, you know why. We put an alternator on it, again, a couple of years ago. There's a video on that because, you know, 400,000 Ks, you know, eventually it might let you down. So it's got the things that might let you down. Aircon compressor, never seen an issue, but have heard of a couple of people having issues. So while it's all apart, I'm going to have a good look and feel around that and make sure, I hope it's not going to give me any grief, because if that's sort of seized up and locked up, as long as you could disengage your aircon, you're okay. Or as long as, if the clutch stayed engaged, the compressor was okay, right? So you should get your aircon serviced. This is what the aircon specialist guy tells me. You should get your aircon serviced, just like you service your engine. So when he does the service, he puts a bit of oil in, you know, so you've got your high and low pressure connections. So he puts a bit of oil in there, lubricates it up. And I can't remember if I had an aircon service on this vehicle or one of my previous or other Prados. I think I might have done it with this one once, but I'm not sure. Somebody else had an issue recently with a winch down here. You got to be really careful of this. It's meant to have the insulation over it, right? And a lot of people bend and rework this. These clips can be broken. You don't want this pipe rubbing anywhere either, because you will lose your aircon. That's not the radiator there, that's the condenser. Just make sure all your bolts are secured. So on this one, engine's good, turbo's good, alternator's good, hoses are good, radiator's going to be good, fan's good, coolant, there's going to be no leaks there. Although there is some hoses on the turbo there that we didn't change, that I'm in second thoughts of now, that I should have got more organised when we did the turbo. See the end of one of them in the middle of the pit? I'll try and get it to focus. See that one there in the middle on the right side of the dipstick? Anyway, hard to get to focus anyway, but some hoses there that if there was going to be a hose that leaked on one of these vehicles, it's going to be the smaller ones, you know, these type smaller ones, and in particular, the smaller ones that are down there of the head of the exhaust manifold. They're the ones that are going to go first. So think about that when you go, I don't care what this Anthony guy says, I'm putting new radiator hoses. That's fine, but I hope you kept watching the video, because it's more important. If you're going to do that, you better do those as well, because they're going to go before these, is what I'm telling you. So it's going to go at least number one, the little one, because of the heat and the size. Number two is probably going to be heater hoses, all these hoses going around here to the firewall, that sort of thing. All this stuff down here under the EJAR cooler and the heater. Just be careful of your EJAR cooler, make sure it's got that bolt in there, otherwise that's going to muck you around. Make sure you got all the clamps on your fuel lines and all that sort of thing. Right, we know this one's cool because I put the engine in it myself, so we know it's all Mickey Mouse. Make sure you got the long SCV, you're not going to have any issues there. Good batteries, good connections. Starter motor got rebuilt and cleaned by the Auto Elec at 400,000. He go, oh, I said close to 4, and he goes, oh, if this is done 400,000, mate, it's going to do another 400,000. He put contacts in it, charged me 60 bucks. That's why I just take it to him, because he's the expert, he's cheap, he's good, he knows what he's doing, and hopefully whatever product he used was half decent quality, because that's what he does. Like I said, these have been replaced as well. This vehicle's had the front wheel bearings done twice. It's got some, personally I recoated a few drive shafts, you know, bits and pieces, leftovers off broken ones, half of this one, half of that one. So it's got some drive shafts that have been changed, because I did bust one, if you remember, if you've been watching the videos. Absolutely caned it. The rear axle bearings have been done because they failed around at the same time, about 360, 370. They started getting noisy. So front and rear bearings are all been done. Can't even speak probably. The rear diff's been done, so it had a pinion seal. So gave it to the, I pulled it out, gave it to the diff guy. He did all the bearings and that, shimmed up the LSD. Beautiful. The front diff will be on the original bearings. ARB with the last to work on that when they put the locker in. I put the compressor in. That battery was already there when I got it, like I said, so I put the compressor here. That was the space. They just connected up, obviously, the airline and did their messy part underneath. Touch wood, where's some wood? I've got to find some wood now. I won't say it until I touch some wood. Hang on a minute. Touch wood, yeah. I've never had any of the leak issues with the front locker. It's always worked. There was one day where I thought it wasn't working. I flicked the switch. I didn't, and then next thing, right when I wanted it to work, but next thing you know, it was either me thinking it didn't work, and it did work, because I was probably said, you better bloody work on me now, and I sort of probably got nervous and it wasn't working, yeah, because anyway, so I guess there's nothing to worry about, is there? Transmission's good, you're not going to have any issues there. Transfer case is good, although sometimes they can get stuck. in low range and things like that. So just be nice and gentle with your shifting and stuff like that. You don't want to throw it too hard or far and get it jammed somewhere. Again, very rare. I mean, things happen with vehicles, and that's why you always have your RAC bada bing, bada boom cover. And yeah, so there you go. So if you want to know where we're going and all that sort of thing, you want to be on 4x4 Adventures, and some of the videos of the trip will be there with some details, and some videos with a lot more detail, quite a remote area that I can't find a lot of videos on. And when people do videos, they haven't provided the information. I'm a real information, that's why I'm giving you the information. So obviously only people that want the information are going to listen to my waffle this long, like what we're doing now. And they're really going to learn about their vehicles and what they need to do. And they'll probably fall off their chair when I said, yeah, cracked piston. Well, I did put a video, I put videos out on that and since then, but if you're not subscribed with the bell on, you miss this stuff, right? So where we are, I think it was about 260 k's north of Port Augusta. Had phone service, turned around, started limping back. You can still drive, take it easy so you don't blow your oil out. See all this bonus information. So yeah, started heading back slowly at about 60 k's an hour. We had another vehicle with us, they just followed us back. We got back to Pimba, grabbed some oil in case I needed the oil because RAC wanted to get it towed and take it up to Rocks. Ridiculous, mate, taking it further north. That's not where I wanted to be. Trip's over, we need to go south. So I said to them, look, they said if you're a bit closer to Port Augusta, you'd be going that way. And I said, no worries, I'll be a bit closer to Port Augusta. I'll ring you when I'm closer. And of course I went, you know what, I can't be bothered waiting on the side of the road for tow trucks, this, that and the other. So I drove straight back to Port Augusta, 260 k's, didn't use a drop of the oil. Checked into the caravan park, called the RACV, and at our leisure had it all checked out by the mechanic, which they insisted on sending, even though I said, look, you know, it's a cracked piston, 100%. They just, yeah, look, sometimes they send a truck, sometimes they don't. They wanted to do their thing, they did their thing, it's all good. And it was all beautiful, mate. Loan cars, accommodation, was it 2 nights there at the Big Four, I think. Another night in Adelaide, hire car from there to Adelaide, changed cars at Adelaide because I didn't want a little Hyundai heap of you know what. Grabbed a Kluger at Adelaide, all paid for. Ubers to pick them up and drop them off. Dropped it off at Tullamarine when we got back. Ubers back, you know, no question. Absolutely awesome, okay? So that's my experience with it. That's why you watch the videos. And of course, then I came back and, you know, I was too impatient. I had to order an engine and put it in there and then dealt with the insurance and all that business afterwards because I was like, I don't care if they really cover it or not. I want this thing in there and I want it going again. And that's what happened, you know. It was done pretty swiftly and ready for action. But the thing is, the weather was rubbish. We had some time left to go on a trip and, you know, I looked at the weather where we were planning to go and it was just rubbish. And we had some nice sunny days in Melbourne. So I went, you know what? Let's just postpone it till next year. And let's not talk about the next year. You know what happened, don't you? The C word. And we never got caught out again after that, mate. So every other year after the C word, 2020, has been all systems go. Life's too short. That's what you do. You've got to have the trips there. And it's just me talking to you, letting you know how to look after your vehicle and how I roll. So you know, if you need me to help you out with some information or a booking or some repairs or your parts kits or whatever the case may be, you need to know when you can do it and when you can't. And Monday the 4th is the best day until May. There you go. I just said it to be quite serious. If you can't do the 4th, well, the 11th we'll have to do. I'll send it on the 12th if your payment comes through in time. And look, dare I say it, for people that wait till the end of the video, if for some reason you can't do your parts kit purchase in the next 2 weeks, then we'll do it the week after that, but that'll be the cutoff, okay? It's got to end somewhere. I need to have a break. Like I said, we need to restock. We've got maintenance, we've got jobs to do in the workshop, and we've got a trip we're going to try and squeeze in. There's going to be some awesome videos on that on the other channel because I'm going to include the information that I couldn't find anywhere online, even though people have done the trip and they crap on and they show you their, look, family, kids playing, all that stuff, no worries, all good, but it's not what people, I don't know, for me, I'm looking for which way did you go, what was the track like, what would you recommend, towing, not towing, what recovery gear, what sort of trouble did you have, how many kilometers from where did you turn, left, right, what track names and details like that, so that'll give me information that helps me plan my trip. And you know what? It's just not there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do videos that say, this is where we went. We went 21 kilometers. We turned left there. We traveled to the best of my knowledge until I start getting bogged on the beach or something like that, and I lose it and I've got to concentrate, trying to save the vehicle from the tide coming in. Then it might get a bit loose, but it could be a bit of, we could do the big stressing. Oh, yeah, quick, you know how everyone carries on. You know, everyone stresses out when that happens. Anyway, I've waffled long enough. I think that's given you some information. I hope you like it. If you did, smash the like button and subscribe, turn the bell on, and we'll catch you on the next video. Have a good one, guys. See ya.